We've got a number of WRC cars. We're pumped. We're ready. This is RACE1 TV coming at you live.
Paul Bird, why did you come back and what's your expectations for Rally Barbados?
Well, why to come back? It's hard to stay away from this place, isn't it? Rum, weather, beautiful sea, nice people, and there's a bit of a rally going down as well.
Definitely stage one, I think everybody will be on the throttle.
It's probably the best event in the world, this, as far as fun and sun.
What are your expectations for the weekend?
Well, I'd love to say I'm hoping to win the class, but you never know with this event.
We're going to see what we can do in Group N. We haven't had a bad start. I think we were the fastest Group N car at King of the Hill.
Well, so far it's been absolutely great. So I'm hoping we're going to have 2 days of fun, of enjoyment, of visiting beautiful parts of the island and get back in one piece.
I am going to dismiss the competition. Everyone is just making up numbers. That's the truth. There's really no opposition.
Well, the words from Paul Bourne is that he's going to beat the competition now.
Oh, he is? Well, maybe he's thinking about the wrong thing.
Competition's going to be very, very tough, so we'll see. We'll just have to press the pedal a bit longer this time and stay off the brake a bit less.
The time is now. The Subaru S12 gets focused after these ads. It is finally here, the eagerly anticipated Rally Barbados 2009, which saw the top crews of the 88 starters being flagged off the ceremonial ramp at Simpson Motors by Minister of Transport John Boyce. Last year's winners Kris Meeke and Paul Nagle in the ex-Roger Skeets S9 Subaru Impreza WRC were to be first on the road. However, all eyes were on Roger the Sheriff Skeet and Louis Venezia in the recently acquired S12 Subaru Impreza WRC. Paul Bourne and Stuart Maloney were third in the S9 Subaru Impreza WRC, followed by Roger the Ninja Hill in the Toyota Corolla WRC. The first stop was to be the 4.8-kilometer Sailor Gully stage. Kris Meeke admitted it was always going to be a tricky task going first on the road, which was recently patched and left lots of gravel on the surface. Cautious of this fact, Meeke would find himself third after the first stage and about 3 seconds off the leader's time. 10-time winner Roger Skeet had sent a sound warning to his rivals the weekend before when he convincingly won King of the Hill. Continuing his fine form, he won stage 1 and led the rally from the early moments.
Start into 1 right, tightens to 5 right, 50. 3 left crest, into 1 left.
Paul the Surfer Bourne lost 7 seconds on the first stage, but that was the least of his worries. As he tried to match the pace of the frontrunners, he only managed a 5th place at the next Sailor Gully stage and then a 4th place some 5 seconds off the leaders. Roger Hill had shown he could be among the frontrunners when he won the warm-up rally about a month ago and now had a good start to Rally Barbados as he was 4th in the first stage. However, on the next stage through Sailor Gully, he started to slip back as Bourne and Kevin Proctor made their way up the order. Looking to improve on his 4th place from last year, England's Steve Perez and Paul Spooner started their 2009 campaign 5th on the road, but 9th after the first stage. 1998 winner Jeffrey Panton teamed up with Mike Pennell Jr. in the Ford Focus WRC for this event, the pair having previously won Rally Jamaica last December.
Right 5 over crest, left 6, 80, crest, right 4, cut 100.
But with such a hot pace being set at the front, Jamaican crew were fighting to keep in touch and were outside the top 5. England's Kevin Proctor and David Bellaby had started off just outside the top 5 in the S7 Subaru Impreza WRC. Consistent times allowed him to move up and he moved from 6th at the start to 5th at the end of the final Sailor Gully stage. Barry Gale and Sherry Edgell in the Mitsubishi Evolution 6 had an awful start and clocked over 3 minutes on the stage, which takes his group about 2 minutes 44 seconds to complete. This placed him way down the order in 29th after the first stage, but the next Sailor Gully stage he rocketed to 15th. He is back. Many thought that he was not going to make it, but he proved them wrong. Trevor Electric Micey Manning has long been one of the people's champions, and he was picked after the first Sailor Gully stage. He clocked a 4th fastest time on stage 3, which was the next time through, and then just outside the top 5 on the final stage at this venue. Paul Bird's 2007 Ford Focus WRC flew in on the bottom of the plane as he wanted to make a bid to carry off the Rally Barbados title. However, after he was second on the first stage, he slipped to third behind Skeet and Meek. He was consistently the third fastest through the Sailor Gully venue. Ian Warren and his brother Robert Warren were competing in Super Modified 10 inside the Suzuki Swift in their first Rally Barbados, previously campaigned by Sean Gill. The crew of Cliff Rowett and Ori Hunt in the Toyota Starlet had some suspension issues, which caused them to be slower than expected. Jonathan Still and Heath Hazel in the BMW M3 started off well in Super Modified 11, leading the group from the onset. They were just ahead of their closest rival, who was quickly making up ground on them. Always knocking on the door of the top group is Modified 8A competitor Neil Armstrong, with co-driver Barry Ward in the Mitsubishi Evolution 6. He started with a top 10 time on the first stage, but though he got quicker, so did the others in the rally, and he was just outside the top 10 stage times in Sailor Gully. England's Ryan Champion and Craig Thorley in the Subaru Impreza suffered from engine failure after completing 3 stages of the rally. Before his retirement, he was setting faster times than the Modified AA leader, Neil Armstrong.
No time to waste. Part 2, Day 2, Rally Barbados 2009. Every point taken. Security in place. Time to release the clutch. The rally moved to the southern part of the island, where the drivers will contest the 3-kilometer Malvern stage. Kris Meeke and Paul Nagle in the S9 Subaru Impreza World Rally car started off Day 2, although they ended Day 1, which was in a winning fashion. England's Paul Bird and Ian Winters found themselves second in both of the Malvern stages. Kevin Proctor and Dave Bellerby were under immediate attack for their 3rd place in the rally. And that attack was coming from Paul Bourne and Stuart Maloney, who had rectified a problem with the S9 Subaru Impreza World Rally car and were now posting times in the top 3. 5th at the start of the day, Trevor Manning and Derek Edwards lost over 10 seconds on the first stage and fell back 2 places. Jamaica's Jeffrey Panton and Mike Fennell Jr. had maintained their steady pace and moved up as high as 5th place in the morning session at Malvern.
And turn left 1.
Barbados' Roger Hill and Graham Gittins started to creep back up the overall order, and on the very first stage had already moved up by 1. Steve Perez and Paul Spooner did not lose hope after their first day mishap that cost them 11 minutes and were in the top 5 stage times at Malvern. There was no time for letting up as the Bajan pair of Jeffrey Noel and Craig Yearwood were locked in a battle for production 4 honours, and it was with England's Rob Swan and Darren Garrod who were less than 4 seconds adrift at the start of Day 2. Jamaica's John Penty Cole and Michael Marsh held 3rd place in production 4. Welshman Phil Collins and his Irish co-driver Derek Bannigan were second in Super Modified 11 and posting times just outside the top 10. Martin Stockdale and Mark Swallow were the 3rd place crew at this point in Super Modified 11, 10 seconds adrift of Phil Collins.